Yes, Julie, and as his long-term personal lawyer, he knows quite a bit, presumably, including, it would appear, activities that Donald Trump would far prefer to be kept quiet. He's already shown that he's willing to talk about potential crimes committed by the president. And these are crimes, let's face it. This is a clear breach of election campaign law, according to Cohen, that Trump willingly, knowingly transgressed. And according to his lawyer, there seems to be other information that he's willing to give. A man, as we've been hearing, who said he was once willing to take a bullet for the president, has now grabbed the gun and is the one firing the bullet straight into Donald Trump's heart, it would seem. This is what Cohen's own lawyer, Lanny Davis, had to say about what his client is prepared to do.
The President of the United States directed him to commit a crime, meaning the President committed the crime, and covered it up because he didn't sign the check to keep quiet the affairs with the two women.
And John, all of this coming on top of Manafort's guilty charges. So does all of this validate Robert Mueller's investigation into Russian collusion in the election campaign?
Well, that's certainly the way that Mueller and his supporters will look at this. They'll be emboldened to press for this investigation to carry on. If Manafort in particular had been cleared at the court on Tuesday, then the clamour for the investigation to be wound up altogether would have become deafening, because there'd been more than a year of investigations and no one had actually appeared in court up to that point. The fact that they've now secured their first conviction means that the investigation has some tangible results now, even though, of course, it has to be stressed that Manafort was not on trial for alleged collusion with Russia. This was purely for financial fraud, which came to light as part of that investigation. But it does mean that the Mueller inquiry will be able to continue. The president will still talk about shutting it down, but that's now very unlikely to happen in the foreseeable future, at least.
Yeah, and I guess the big question is whether any of this has any legal ramifications for President Trump. What is Trump saying about all of this?
Well, we'll come to the legal ramifications in a moment. Trump, of course, as is his wont, turning to Twitter to respond to both these cases. This is what he had to say about Michael Cohen. If anyone is looking for a good lawyer, I would strongly suggest that you don't retain the services of Michael Cohen. And his tweet about Paul Manafort, a lot more sympathetic, as you can imagine, because Manafort, unlike Cohen, has not turned against the president. Now, as for the legal ramifications, that's all a very important aspect now being mulled over. As a serving president, it's very, very unlikely that Donald Trump would be indicted. It's feasible, though, that he could be impeached by the Congress. Now, that's essentially him being put on trial by the politicians. But for that to happen, there has to be a majority in the House of Representatives, and at the moment the House is controlled by the Republicans, and to be found guilty, to actually be thrown out of office, 2/3 of the Congress would have to vote for that to happen. And again, the Senate would have to vote for that to happen, and the Senate is also controlled by the Republicans. So at the end of the day, this is less about the legal situation than the political one.